Welcome to the Supreme Love Project, where you learn to love supremely so you can live supremely. This is a Power Hour. This is the place where you can get the information you need to heal the terrors in your soul and launch a revolution in your life. Get ready. Take notes. Now here's your host, Janine Staples.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Supreme Love Project. You are tuned into the Cold Crush Teleseminar podcast, and I feel so excited and really energized to have a new guest with us today. Her name is Shawngela Pierce, and she does so much wonderful work in the world. Shawngela, are you on the line?
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome. It's so great to have you here. Thank you for agreeing to participate in the Supreme Love Project.
Well, thank you for having me, and welcome, everyone.
Yes, welcome, everyone. We have thousands of women tuned in from 11 different countries, and so we have a broad audience from women with lots of different perspectives, different age ranges, different races and ethnicities, different maybe gender expressions or gender identities, different body types, and also different personal stories in relation to how the cold, icy demeanor sort of got built up around their soul. There's some women listening in who are survivors and even thrivers of narcissistic abuse, some who are survivors of verbal abuse, emotional neglect, maybe infidelity. There are some women who are struggling with low self-esteem, a poor self-concept, a lack of confidence, maybe a lack of direction. Some women who tuned in have lost their voice and do not know how to articulate themselves and declare who they are in the world, and therefore they get run over. And there's definitely a doormat. It causes us to close ourselves off and resist intimacy. And what we're going to talk about in this call is how to reconnect so that we can practice intimacy with ourselves and with others. And so, Shawngela, I would like to welcome you by just giving you a few minutes to talk to us about who you are, what work you do in the world, and what brought you to that work.
Great. My name again is Shawngela Pierce. I work as a law of attraction and meditation coach. And what I do is I teach and inspire people how to become the greatest versions of themselves by healing emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And I have a passion for teaching because I've been teaching for over 15 years. That was my major career choice, was to teach. I taught actually human biology college. And then I began my own spiritual journey of healing myself. So I started meditating, I started following the law of attraction, and it just became a part of who I was, so much so that I wanted to transition to teaching that to others and giving people the skills that I had learned along the way of how they could also heal themselves and just become happier, more prosperous, just more free people in general. Just, it feels so much lighter to be healed emotionally.
So what brought you to that space where you needed to do that work? What's the story?
Well, in my teachings, I do teach that your story, everyone has a past. And if you focus on the past and you kind of just, you bring more of that into your reality. So I like to focus on this moment now. Suffice it to say, there was trauma in the past. And that just sparked me to start the journey because I didn't want to be the victim anymore. I wanted to have control over who I was and my destiny. So this is why I chose the path that I did. And so I encourage people to tell that story because if I'm telling the more positive, uplifting story, that's who I become as opposed to retelling the drama and the trauma and all that. And then you just keep yourself in that vibration and you never truly heal from it.
Got it. Powerful. Thank you so much. Okay, so then it makes me wonder about this new version of yourself. And one of the first questions on the roster is, what is your concept of the greatest version of you? I think that so many women who have gone through trauma and drama, maybe who are sort of wallowing in their stories, who've really taken on what I call a lover identity of victim. And I write about that on JaneStaples.com and also the SupremeLoveProject.com. You know, it's very difficult to know the greatest version of who you are, to know a higher vibrational story. So can you share with us a little bit about what it means to realize the greatest version of you and to actually move in that version as opposed to the old version?
It's letting go of the story in your head. Not just your conscious thoughts, really your subconscious thoughts that are just replaying and, you know, on autopilot, these, you know, stories that you've experienced throughout your life. It's letting go of that and coming back to your true essence, your true godlike being, you know, the true peace that you are, the true love that you are, you know, the true health that vibrates from within, you know. So you're coming, in essence, back home to your God self.
Coming back home to your God self. You know, I think about that a lot when I think about the concept of supreme love as a force, as an energetic force, and then becoming a supreme lover is about that. It's working from your divine adult center. And thinking about God consciousness, I think of Christ consciousness specifically, and how that manifests in feminine form as like in feminine beings, which how we name ourselves. And the greatest version of us is that we are spirits, in the way that I understand it. We are not a soul and we are not a body. We are spirits. And so when we have that sort of mental shift, that mind trip to reorient ourselves to our own identity, that greatest version becomes a little bit easier. It's not so daunting anymore. And Shawnghela, I say that and I ask that question because there are so many women listening to us who've heard these things before in different ways and they've sort of gotten discouraged and said, well, you know, I hear gurus or physicians or clerics or educators, maybe scholars say, you know, love yourself, be your best self, like Oprah, it's an Oprah Winfrey term, you know, be your best self, be the greatest version of you. And when a woman is downtrodden and she's really spinning in that old story and identifying as a victim, she may say, well, what does that even mean? And how do I get to that place? So my next question is, what are some of the ways, sort of practically speaking, that a person can become this greatest version of herself?
My major focus is teaching people to meditate and having them practice meditation in order to come back home to their godlike self. Because when you can let go and focus, really you're like retraining your mind to get out of their regurgitation, because most people have 40 to 50,000 thoughts per day, and because they have all of these uncontrolled thoughts, many of them are just regurgitations of the same stories. In order to get back to your true essence, to quiet your mind and really feel your connection to your spirit, you have to meditate. You have to retrain your mind to focus and to quiet, and once you do that, you begin to really feel a stronger connection to your spirit, and you begin to let go also of the pain and the hurt and, you know, the trauma that has accumulated thus far. So it not only just it quiets your mind, it also helps you to let go and become at peace with whatever has happened in your life.
Yeah. And to become at peace with whatever's happened in your life seems like such a lofty and far away goal. Like something that would be impossible, because I'm thinking again of people who are spinning in their stories and who are so attached to their stories and have really magnified them so that their old story is now their current reality, and to move beyond the trauma and the drama so that one can be the greatest version of themselves, it's possible. Like, it's definitely possible. And I want to encourage the women who are listening, right, who think, oh, maybe for her, or maybe for this person or that person, but certainly not for me, because you don't know what I've been through, or you don't know what I've experienced, or you don't even know what I've done to other people, perhaps. And what I would say, in echoing what you're saying, Shawngelas, to those women who might be thinking about those things right now, trust me and believe that there's very little, if anything, that you could have done or experienced that could preclude you from starting over, from creating a fresh start. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree. I agree. And I also would say, you know, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. It's just you take it one day at a time and one moment at a time. We're not trying to get you from point A to point Z like in 1 second. It's a journey. It's really it's a lifestyle change. It's a choice to continue along the path and live a spiritual life so that you can let go and become at peace with your past. And that will take time, but believe you me, it will get a lot easier and it will feel good to you.
Right. Now, I want to kind of lean into that. I want to talk about feeling. I'm a big proponent of the feels. I think that emotionality is so crucial to femininity. And when I talk about emotionality, I'm talking specifically about becoming very attuned to our bodies and very attuned to how energy actually flows through our bodies and is constructed by our bodies. And understanding energetic charge, understanding triggers, understanding, you know, the connection between our consciousness, which is our soul, and then our soma, which is our body, and how they relate to one another, helps a woman. If a woman can understand the relationship between her soul and soma, she can understand her personality a lot better. She can understand her desire a lot better. She can understand her impulses so much more. And so, what are your thoughts about learning literally to feel and to develop a language with which to describe and name and frame your feelings? How important is emotionality to this greatest version of you?
In the teachings that I teach for the law of attraction, feelings are very important. And when we talk about feelings, we're talking about your highest feelings, your true feelings, your true feelings. We're saying feelings are a communication between your spirit and yourself. And so when you are in a state where you're feeling good, and feeling good means, you know, the joy, the happiness, just anything that feels good, then you know that you're in alignment with who your true essence is. Your true, you know, you're getting closer to that greatest version of you. Okay?
Right.
And when you're not feeling that way, when you're depressed, you're sad, you're angry and all that, you're at a disconnect with that. Okay? And so we teach people to get in touch with those feelings because most people aren't in touch with those feelings. Most people don't understand the communication that they've been given between their spirit and themselves here in the physical form. So it's almost like going back to school to understand yourself and your feelings and the energy, because it is all energy, your feelings and all that. And because if you're feeling sad, depressed and all that, you're not in alignment with your true self, and you're not allowing the higher vibrational energy to flow through you. And that higher vibrational energy is your highest, greatest version of yourself.
Right. Man. And the loveliness and the power of that kind of awareness and consciousness just cannot be overstated. It cannot be overstated. What I've learned from what you've described is that, and what I've learned from my research is that when a woman doesn't feel when she doesn't know how to feel, how to be present with her body, to take her awareness into her body, it's very difficult for movement to happen. Movement out of a cycle of pain, movement out of a relationship that's abusive, movement out of a dead-end career, movement out of a familial dynamic that's toxic, movement out of a space of anxiety or depression. If you can't feel what you're feeling and name what you're feeling, right, it's like there's no movement that can happen. You stay stuck. And the reason the sticking happens is because without a woman operating as goddess, warrior, servant, queen, fully anchored in her divine center, her highest order of self as a spirit, if she's not commanding presence in her soul and in her body, taking awareness, she can't reign her experience. She can't reign over her kingdom. She cannot. You're not reigning. Your kingdom is not listening to you. You have no echo. And your word doesn't mean anything if you can't feel what you feel. If you don't know what's going on in your own dominion, if you can't name it, it's a disadvantage. It's a really deep disadvantage. It's a disability. And so, this is why I talked in the Supreme Love Project and in the Supreme Love course about feeling what you feel and developing a language for what you feel. What I've found, Shawnghela, and I'd like to know your thoughts about this, is that when a woman can not only be attuned to her body and how she's feeling in any situation, and also attuned to her soul and what she's saying to herself, the story that she's spinning out, and she knows how to interrupt and redirect, or she knows how to do self-soothing in any particular moment by moment, that same woman is a source of great wisdom and power and fearlessness.
Yeah, I agree. When you're in touch with yourself and your energetic flow, and you know what you're feeling in that moment. So if you're not feeling good, it's because your subconscious mind, chances are, your subconscious mind is regurgitating something that's not true for you. It's not true. It's not your true essence, your true powerful being here. And so when you have the tool set to shift your energy, to shift to a higher vibration, then you become in alignment with your true godlike self.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so for some of our sisters who are listening, who are in a rut and who are repeating, the same patterns and don't know how to do interruption, or don't know how to do cord cutting, where I talked with, Avalora DeBerry about this, another guest on Cold Crush, about cord cutting, like learning how to, break the old agreements that are extant in those old stories. If you don't know how to do that work, it's usually because you're not able to feel. And I want to put something else out there. You're not able to feel or name what you're feeling. When a woman, let me just ask you this, Shawnghela. Have you ever come in contact with a person who is visibly upset? Maybe you can see that they're fuming under the surface. You don't know what it's about, but you can see it. There's evidence in their body. Or you can see that they're on the verge of tears. Maybe their eyes are welling up, they're trembling a little bit, their lip is sort of vibrating, or they're biting their lip. And you say to them, "What's going on?" And they say, "Nothing." Or you ask, "Are you okay?" And they say, "I'm fine." Or you say, "Do you need anything?" And they say, "No." Usually, in my experience, and particularly in my work, I found that a person who is on that brink of an emotional break, or a breakdown or breakthrough, and cannot name it, cannot be in touch, they're actually numb, they're just sort of being overtaken as a spirit, they're being overtaken by their soul, it's just a lack of order. So your soul thinks it's bigger than you as a spirit. That is a person usually who is emotionally dishonest. And if you're emotionally dishonest, if you're a liar, and I know this I know a lot about this. I used to be a liar. I used to be emotionally dishonest. So I can speak about this not only as a scholar, but also from a very practical standpoint. When I could not name what I was feeling, when I couldn't gather the boldness and the courage to say what I was feeling to someone, I would just lie. I would just cover it up, put on a mask, create a veneer, throw on some armor, retreat into myself. And that's a part of what the Cold Crush series is about. It's about helping women to not do those practices. So what I want to ask you, Shawngela, is what do we say to women who are emotionally dishonest, who are emotionally ambivalent, who are not in touch with their bodies and not in touch with themselves, who are essentially lying to themselves and to other people? How do you jump off that train?
How do you jump off of it? In my work, what I do is I try to inspire people to start the journey of the change and allow those who are not ready to be in that space without judgment, because you can't make anyone do anything. We all know that. We all have friends or family members who are going through trauma, and you try to assist them, but you actually make it worse because you can't make them get to that point. So you can only live by example. And so I not only teach what I teach, I also live it too. And so in that inspires my teachings to help start women on the process of going through that journey to get to the point where you can be honest with yourself, where you can express those feelings, where you understand your feelings, and then you make the choice. Are these feelings serving me, or is this situation serving me? This situation that causes me to do this, does it serve me? Do I now have the courage to move on from it? To move on from this abusive relationship or this horrible job or whatever it may be, It's really, you have to get to the point when you want to start that. And for some people, they need guidance. They need like a coach. That's where me and you come into play. That's why we're here, to help people, to guide them. And my job I feel is to help guide people to the point where they feel strong enough, where they understand their own true innate connection to their spirit, that they no longer need my guidance. They've accomplished the first step, developing that inner communication, and then they themselves can continue the healing and inspire other women to do the same.
Yeah, that's so key. And I think that, Shawngela, you hit the nail right on the head, in my opinion as well, which is that help comes when it is called. Help comes when it is called. And when people are hurt bad enough and they cry out help, then help will come. And it does matter whether or not that process is in place, because it is also, in my opinion, a great fact that it's not possible to infringe upon someone else's space or someone else's process and tell someone what to do when they've not asked for assistance, or push someone beyond their comfort zone, or when they're ready to break out of their comfort zone. So yeah, that's the first step I would say. And I like what you said about inspiring consciousness, inspiring awareness, and also providing support for women. And I want to think about also what that looks like. You do so much energy work, and you do so much with guidance and meditation, with movement. When someone is ready to jump off that cycle and get off that train and stop lying or masking or hiding from themselves and from other people, when they're really ready, what can they do? What can they do to learn how to feel what they feel and be more attuned to their body and their emotions?
I would say start following someone who resonates with resonates with you. If you're asking for help, like you say, it will come to you, and you'll be guided to readings or a teacher who can give you the advice that you need. So let's say they, quote unquote, happen upon my website. There's not really any coincidence in that. If you're ready and you're seeking the help is there. And so you can get you can do a coaching session, or you can read the blog. Maybe there's something in the blog that would help you to understand and start your journey, or maybe for you may be inspired to just start meditating. That may be your inspiration. So I say just set the intent. If you're ready and you're like, whoever your God is you speak to, I'm ready. Show me the way, what I need to do, and just listen for that inspiration of what to do next, I'm sure many of women who are listening to this right now were asking for help, and now that's why they're listening to it. So take the next step. What am I inspired to do? Okay. Hopefully it is to get more guidance and so you can have the strength to heal yourself emotionally, physically, and spiritually, and become the greatest version of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds powerful. We've got time for one more question. It's a question that was submitted, and it's, are these the only ways a person can become the greatest version of themselves? Is there another way? Is there an alternative that we haven't discussed today?
Yes, there definitely are other ways to heal yourself and become more connected to your soul. I prefer the meditation because it's just like, I feel like it just cuts straight through. But there are other things that I add on to meditation as well. It could be something as simple as making yourself feel good every day, right? So you put into practices, routines that make you feel good. It could be listening to uplifting music in the morning. So that's like a routine you do all the time. It could be looking at gorgeous pictures throughout the day, and that could be a routine that helps you to feel good. And then over time, because you're placing more and more of your focus on feeling good, you will start to feel better. You kind of get yourself out of, you slowly but surely raise your vibration. Because if you're like in a state of depression or sadness, whatever, you're at a low vibration. And these practices will help you to raise your vibration to feeling better. They will obviously take time to do, but these are practices that are definitely well known to help people to raise their vibration. Gratitude is another one of my favorite ones. Practicing gratitude on a daily basis will help you to raise your vibration and become more in tune with your spirit and become the greatest version of yourself. Yeah. So these are all practices that I use in addition to meditation to help people become the greatest versions of themselves.
Absolutely. This has been wonderful, Shawngela. I thank you so much. It's almost like you gave us the parting gifts already, but I want to give a chance, just as I've done to every other guest, as we wrap up and get to a close, just 3 parting gifts for those women who are listening in right now from Japan, Australia, the United States, all over the country here in the States. What are 3 ideas or questions or tasks that a woman could do immediately as soon as this episode is completed and wrapped? What could she do right away to help herself to start definitively, like without a doubt, on that path to become the greatest version of herself?
I would say step 1, ask the question. Ask it to your whomever you ask to, whatever God-like figure you use. Ask the question. I say I'm ready to become the greatest version of myself. Guide me to the right person, the right people, the right things that I need to do in order to become that. And then just wait for the guidance. Let the inspiration come to you because you will be guided. So it's really just ask for help, okay? And allow it to come. That would be my number one. Number two, I would say start a gratitude list. You can have like a gratitude jar. Place it in a place that you see every day. So you have your jar, you have your piece of paper and a pencil right by it, and each and every day you write something for which you're grateful for. I'm grateful for this, and you put it in the jar. And then when the jar gets filled, then the best part about it is opening it up and reading it, to see all the things you're really grateful for. So you could place more of your attention towards gratitude than the not so great parts of your life. So I would say that. And then, of course, number three, I would say, start the process of meditation. Learn how to meditate.
Excellent steps. Something we can do today, something you can do right now to crush that cold in your soul and rebridge yourself to intimate spaces. And the intimate space with yourself, I think, is the first and primary space to bridge from that coldness, that iciness, that tundra around your soul into something warmer, softer, more gentle, more open, and more honest and more true. So, Shawngelas, thank you so much for this wonderful interview. I appreciate your time, your offering of wisdom. I encourage everyone to go over to seekwithinyou.com and look up Shawngelas' work and make sure that you access her free gift over at the Supreme Love Project's page featuring her. And remember, take this message to heart, build it into your body, and we will see you on the next episode of the Supreme Love Project, particularly the Cold Crush series. Bye, everybody. See you on the Facebook page.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for participating in the Supreme Love Project. We're a division of Literacy for Life, LLC. Please visit thesupremeloveproject.com for more information about our products and services. Visit JanineStaples.com for more information about our beloved founder and president. And remember, take this message to heart and build it into your body. We'll see you next time, right here. The place to make love, not war, every day of your life.